Are we live? All right.
Now you are.
Welcome everybody to the Icom booth. We're happy to have an IC 9700 in the booth with us today. I'll show you a few of the features. This is a tri-band radio, 2 meter 440 and 1.2 gigahertz. It's 100 watts on 2 meters, 75 on 440, and 10 watts on 1.2 gigahertz. It is a D-Star capable radio right out of the box. So we've got a button here that's labeled DR. That's for digital repeater mode. So we press and hold on that button and it takes us into what should be a very familiar mode, DR mode, to those of you who are familiar with D-Star already. So you've got your to and your from field. You can do all of your linking and unlinking to the various reflectors very quickly through this menu. So very happy to have DR mode inside the 9700 for our D-Star fans. Also, some of the neat features of the 9700, it is fully featured AMSAT radio as well. So for our AMSAT enthusiast out there, we've got the dual VFOs. They'll lock together and track up and up, down and down, whatever you need for the uplink that you're making. It'll also auto adjust for Doppler and things like that. So it makes it quite easy for our AMSAT aficionados out there to work those birds. So we're very happy for that. It also does feature our touchscreen interface. You might have noticed me tapping around there. A lot of the navigation is done by this touchscreen. Let's take it out of satellite and take it out of DR mode here. We can change modes very quickly by tapping just on the mode button there. Anyone who's familiar with an IC 7300, which is just here, the twin brother, so to speak, will be very familiar with the interface of the 9700 immediately out of the gate. Most of the layout is very similar to what you'd be familiar with in a 7300. So that was very important to us to maintain that continuity of user interface for our end users. So changing modes again very fast. It is an all-mode radio, so sideband, both upper and lower, AM and FM, and then you'll notice DV and then data as well. The radio is capable of doing digital data on the 1.2 gigahertz band. So very nice to have that inside the radio as well for those who use that for emergency communications and auxiliary communications in their local areas as a service. We've got a voice recorder inside the radio, so you can record your voice to play back over the air. It does require that you have an SD card interface with the radio just there in the slot. But after you've done that, you can record your own voice, say calling CQ during a contest or on field day, and play that back over the air to save your vocal cords some stress over the course of the day or the weekend. And if you receive a call back, it'll auto pause playback and allow you to jump in there and make that QSO. So we like the voice recorder feature, very handy. And we always definitely recommend that folks interface an SD card with their 9700 or 7300 or any of our radios that are capable of interfacing with an SD card. One of the reasons for that is because that is going to be the way that you update your firmware. So we come down here. You can save your settings onto the SD card, which is going to be important because when you update your firmware, it will reset everything to factory default. So if you save your settings first, then you come and update your firmware, and then you come back up here and you load your settings back in, and it's like you never left. Everything will go right back the way you left it, and you'll be off to the races and not have to fiddle with setting the radio back up.
Okay, and this has a server on it so you can connect to your router?
That's right. On the back of the radio there is a RJ45 connector, standard Ethernet type connector. You can plug it into your home network for remote control, and it's also how we do the faster of the data modes for DV. The 128K digital data is done by that Ethernet connection as well. So that's a very powerful bit of I/O on the back of the radio that we're quite happy to have. And I'll flip it around here so that you can take a quick look at the back side. You'll notice 3 antenna ports. We've got an SO239, that's your 2 meter, and then 2 end connectors, that is 440 and 1.2 gigahertz respectively. That's your USB interface. That is for rig control and remote control, as well as access to the onboard sound card inside the radio. So if you're looking to do digital modes and things like that, you've got various interfacing for speakers and such. And then this is that Ethernet jack that I mentioned, and this is a calibration for the internal clock on that SMA connector. And then of course, Icom fans will be familiar with our accessory jack left on for compatibility with various accessories and things like that that folks like to use with our radios.
Does this come standard with 1.2 gigahertz?
It does. 1.2 is built in right out of the box. no additional modules or anything like that. The biggest value add that you can make to a 9700 is, again, just going to be that one SD card, and you're off to the races.
Okay, super. All right, and your name again?
I'm Will, AA4WJ.
All right, Will, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Thanks for stopping by.